Hello, Chris Klimke, Digital Services Manager in Illinois with Corteva Agriscience. And with me today I have
Matt Montgomery. I'm a field agronomist in the central and west central part of Illinois.
Thanks for spending a couple minutes with me here today, Matt.
Yeah.
I want to visit on growing a good crop of soybeans, and I didn't know if you had any initial thoughts there.
Well, I think, whenever we talk about soybeans, one of the things that jumps out at me is just the tremendous yield gains we've seen over the last several years. And those have a genetic basis to them, but they also have a pretty large management component to them. And we really do treat beans differently than we did almost a decade ago. We manage them very intensely, and we put a lot of tender, loving care into them.
They're no longer a second-hand child?
That's right, not the stepchild anymore.
All right, so I know you spend a lot of time in the combines in the fall. Any observations as you're riding along in the combine?
They're just kind of the everyday observations, right? Those moments where even though maybe it may be a bean that's not prone to lodging, you wound up with a spot that gets taller and it wraps up around the reel. Mm-hmm. Maybe having sometimes a little bit of a hard time tapping it where maybe we're in a little bit of rougher ground and that kind of thing. And the whole idea there that it's just that management component again, Chris, that's really what jumps out at me.
Okay. So through ENcirca services,
Yep.
we have the ability to do variable rate on soybeans.
Right.
And I know we've worked together on a couple of farmers this fall or throughout the
Yep.
winter. Any observations that you've made there?
I'm pretty impressed with the tool. I think one of the things that jumps out at me is the ease of use. And I've said before, I'm kind of an old codger, and I need to have things that are pretty easy to work with. And I can step away from using that tool for a while, come back after a bit, and can pretty quickly get my head around how to operate the tool. It's pretty easy to work with. The other thing is that I see real possibilities there. We know there's really good solid science behind the tool, Chris, and there's real possibilities for us to at least nudge yield a little bit more. We've taken some of those real big yield gains. Now it's going to be nudging it. How do we just keep pushing it a little bit forward? And then that whole management side of things jumps out at me as well. The idea that, again, if we're talking about sustainability, harvestability, that's all risk management. We can't eliminate risk, but we do things to decrease it. And if we can manipulate seeding rate by soil type, which is what our data says that we can do and what this tool has been designed to help us with, then we can further reduce that risk and increase the chances of a happy harvest.
And I think if we put some check blocks in there as well,
Yes.
it will allow the farmer or the end user to say, hey,
Absolutely.
Did this pay for me?
I am really impressed with the idea that we can put check blocks out there. For me, whenever it comes to precision ag, I think one of the big things we always have a hard time with is how can I measure the value of the tool? And you can work with your rep or your ENcirca CSA, you can work with other people within PHI, and you can very quickly come up with check blocks in there, and you can measure what's happening over time. After a few years, you'll get a feel for whether it's someplace you want to spend those limited number of chips.
All right, well, thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
If you are interested in doing any variable rate soybeans, I invite you to reach out to your local Pioneer representative or your local service agent. Thank you, and have a great day.